This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net. And you know what? It is Tuesday afternoon, and we are live this week, folks. I mean,
All
I know
right.
last week, I don't know what happened, but we didn't go live, but we are live today. You want to take our pulses and make sure? Okay. Yeah. And it's time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo, and all of you who are listening.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody to What in the World. Thank you for that great introduction. Karen Hale, our media mogul at newclevelandradio.net and co-host of What in the World. And what else do? You do everything. You do everything. You got all kind of podcasts on newclevelandradio.net. You had a nice, easy day today. So Karen's
Yes,
all
I
set.
did.
I know that. And also on the screen, you heard his name, John DiNallo. Hi, John.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Karen.
John is our other co-host and also the host of One in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. John's got a great sport for us this week, as always. So why do you come to visit us every once a week at What in the World? You come for the strange news, fun news, weird news. That's what we provide you. This is real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. And guess what? This is the place to be today on May 2nd, not May the 4th yet. May 2nd, 2023. Why? Because everybody else who used to tell you funny stories on television is now on strike, and we're not. So you get your comedy here.
That's right, Paul. That's right.
None of us are in the union. Although
well, now that's something to think about.
At least for myself, I do have friends in the business. I support the writers. They deserve everything that they're fighting for, and then some. They get screwed. I've been there. I know how it works. I'm sorry that you're not seeing all your favorite shows, but trust me, they'll be back. They'll be back. There's too much money to be made. So anyways, let's see. What else do I have to say? So welcome to everybody who is on whatever platform you're on, Spotify, Apple, et cetera, et cetera. If you're interested in YouTube, and we really hope that you are, visit us on YouTube, because I generally have a lot of photos that go along with the stories. I try to describe them as best I can for those of you that just listen to it through the earbud, but they're always fun to take a look at. And today I've got my Bigfoot sweatshirt on, which means that I have Bigfoot stories.
Okay.
Photos, John, unusual photos, but photos nonetheless. I also have a Loch Ness Monster story with photos as well. So for all you monster cryptid lovers out there that come to visit us, we always have fun with our monsters, and we'll have a good time with them this week as well. Let's see, what else do I have now? Bigfoot wanted posters. That's what the story is here, John, to get you ready for it. Robots with noses that really smell. Prehistoric tailors. This is a great one. This is a great story. Bad news for people who do yoga, and the bad news comes from Exorcist. So if you want to find out about that, Loch Ness Monster sighting, as I mentioned, and a new kind of car air conditioner from India. Great story from Facebook. I've been having fun with that all week. So now it's on What in the World. So I think, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, I got a couple of world records, some trivia, and of course we've got sports with John. So let's get right to it. Check our time here. I don't have to say hands down. Oh, yeah, and then, by the way, we also end up with every show with Bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. So stick around for that. We got 3 great stories for you there. Okay, so I mentioned that the writers are at strike. That's all I'll say about that. I've been through a couple of those on both sides, and it's not pleasant. So support your writers. Okay. Everybody's afraid of artificial intelligence these days. It's I've mentioned it a number of times. Robots, people are afraid of robots. There was a story this over the weekend about a lady in Japan who beat the heck out of a robot with a 2x4. I don't know why. Yeah, it was too brutal to show on our show. That's how bad it was. I'm not sure what got her upset, if it was a delivery robot or if it got in her way or security. but people are getting upset with robots, and I predicted that for a long time. So this is a good news robot story. This is the kind of story we need about robots. So a team of engineers at Tel Aviv University created the first robot that is able to smell. So it has a robotic nose and all kind of robotic devices inside of that allow it to smell. It has a biological sensor which sends electrical signals to its artificial intelligence brain, and it can identify nearby odors. Amazing that they can do this. I don't know if you realize what this means, but you could be having a party at your house. Think about this, filled with people. All of a sudden, you smell something. All you have to do is say, "Hey Siri, who farted?" And Siri will tell you who farted.
Oh no.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
Probably if it's good enough, and I'm sure it is, they'll even tell you what that person was eating.
Oh.
So this is
Okay, Paul,
great
move
news.
on.
Dogs will love it because now they always get blamed for whatever odors are in the house. Now you're gonna find out it wasn't the dog, it was somebody else. I think they should put these in elevators. Same thing happens. You say, "Hey, elevator, who farted?" Make that person get off on the next floor. That's your punishment.
You find
you
it
right.
can't hold it. Take the stairs. I'm not sure what. But other options for this. Obviously, John, I've thought about this quite a bit, as you know. Put it in restrooms. Put these robots in restrooms. Have a motion detector that can tell, when someone new is coming into the restroom. The robot can take a sniff and say, "I wouldn't go in there if I were you." That's just the kind of warning you need, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it would be different, Paul. It would be different.
That's right. Another good place. You've got ice makers in refrigerators. They're building artificial intelligence into refrigerators. This needs to be built into a refrigerator. I would use it. I go into the refrigerator, I pull something out, I hold it up to the robotic nose. I say, "Hey, does this milk smell bad to you?" You could, I'm sure they could try Amana, if you're listening, there's a free idea for you.
It could be something useful, I guess, right? I guess.
Even, John, for that stuff that's been sitting in the back of your refrigerator for a long time, you can't remember what it was. You say, hey Siri, smell this. But do you remember what this was? Because, guys, if it doesn't smell too bad, and if we kind of remember what it was, we'll eat it.
There's a difference there for sure. Men would do that. I don't think women would, but that's
No.
that's just how it is.
And then also my final variation, put one by the front door. And then as you're walking out the front door, you breathe on the robot and you say, "Hey, do I need a mint?"
Ooh, good idea.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so that's our first. So you learn stuff on What in the World. You don't just
there
laugh.
you are,
You learn
there you
stuff.
are for sure.
That's what John threw out his encyclopedia. He doesn't go to Wikipedia anymore. He comes to What in the World to get all the information he needs to live his day.
We are a treasure trove of so much information. I mean, just fun stuff and informative stuff. So yeah,
Very informative.
Treasure trove. That's our secondary motto. We are the world's treasure trove. Okay, so here's one from University of Bristol. Scientists at the University of Bristol have developed a robotic fish. So we go from the nose to the fish, powered by a lightweight, low-cost kind of a polymer band that relies on temperature to change movement, which is what fish do too. So depending on the temperature of the water, this robotic fish wags its tail faster or slower in order to move around the tank. Very simple and very elegant. Very, very interesting. The robotic fish is only 6 inches long, but the engineers say that, the one that they were working on was a foot long, but they can't find it now. So unfortunately, when they finished the experiment and they didn't know what to do, so they had to build a robotic toilet to flush it down, which was kind of sad. But
Yeah.
it's a joke. They didn't really build a
Well,
robotic
yeah, it
toilet.
seemed like too much of a domino effect for me to be.
That's right.
I was
I'll
just,
tell you what,
just being
what they-
skeptical.
That's right. That's right, John. Here's what they actually did. They took the robotic fish and they disassembled it. And then they took it to a hardware store and they sold the parts as robotic sushi, robotic fish sushi. They didn't do that either. That was another joke. Okay. So I know John is just dying to see these Bigfoot photos. So we're
I
gonna
am.
get to yeah. We're gonna get right to Bigfoot here. I think I've got my photos lined up over here. So okay, so this one comes from Oklahoma. A guy by the name of Jim Whitehead lives in Oklahoma. He was, until a few years ago, a forensic artist. What is a forensic artist? He works for the police department when you've been robbed or say you've been a witness to a crime and you don't have a photo, you describe the person to the forensic artist and he proceeds to draw them. And very often their artistic drawings are almost as good as a photograph. So he was in a park and just drawing as his hobby. And some people mentioned to him that they saw Bigfoot, but they didn't have a photograph. And he said, really, what does he look like? Next thing you know, he's got a new job. That's what he does. He goes to Bigfoot symposiums. He goes to Bigfoot Society meetings. And draws Bigfoot for people who saw it but forgot their camera or didn't take their camera out. So it's a way to you have an excuse when your friends ask you, like John does all the time. Well, where's the photograph? Well, I got a picture.
Okay.
So here's our first picture, John, of Bigfoot. There we go. Okay.
Oh, come on.
So,
Now,
so
the only
this one,
problem, Paul, that I have is that, okay, it's an artist's rendering, right? And that's what people have told them it looks like. I don't know.
I don't know, John. This was a witness. This is a witness who
Well,
described it to him.
I'm not taking anything away from that person, but I don't know.
I'd like to know more about the setting. Okay, because
I
then I
know.
could go back
There
to
you
that
go.
setting.
This Bigfoot must have been committing a crime because he's trying to cover his face.
Yeah.
I think he looks a little bit like the Boston Strangler myself. This guy may have been he crim making big. All right, I've got a couple more here. So that's my thought on that one. The Boston Strangler in a fur coat. That's what I think.
Okay.
Here's the next one. Now this one here. Good looking Bigfoot, by the way. Isn't that how about that, John? He's got a nice nice physique.
Yeah, he has a nice physique. His body is formed there, right? I mean, it looks good.
Looks like he works out, he's got
well, he's a fit Bigfoot, but wait a minute.
He's not my type.
Not your type. I was going to say, it looks like he has one of those razors that you use to trim your beard or your hair, that he keeps his fur down to a minimum.
Now let me offer this. As Bigfoot photos or pictures are done, he looks almost human. I mean, his facial features are almost human. So I don't know.
The lips, especially the lips. Take the lips. He looks like he could be whistling or
right.
Getting ready to plant a big kiss on Karen over there.
Oh no, not my type.
I guess it would be
Come here, baby. Yeah.
It would be a stretch. I'm sorry. It would be somewhat of a stretch to say he's one of us, right? But I don't.
There you go. Nice eyes. Okay. All right. So here's the next one. This one here. This guy. Now this one looks like one of the draft picks for the Browns last year.
Could be an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, right?
The defensive lineman. The Browns drafted some guys that were like 6'8" and 500 pounds. That's what this guy looks like here.
Oh, look at that.
No neck. Yeah, no neck.
Yeah,
more of a typical Bigfoot. Kind of an odd mouth there. I don't know what's going on with his mouth, and his ears disappeared in his head. But anyways, okay. So that one here. Now this one's my favorite here. Now this is a very very unusual look for a Bigfoot. He's got very long hair. kind of slanted eyes. I'll tell you who this, John, does this remind you of anybody?
Somebody from school, you think? That we went to school?
No. But good path to take. This actually reminded me of a rock star. He looks like Joe Cocker. Let's go back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say he
maybe.
kind of,
There
he
you
kind
go,
of
Bigfoot,
resembles
Joe Cocker.
Yeah. Okay.
Bigfoot, Joe
Yeah, I can
Cocker.
see that. Wait a minute. Don't tell me Joe Cocker is a Bigfoot. Then,
Whoa.
that really would be a problem.
Now you know when he's saying, I'm trying to get a little help from my friends. His friends were Bigfoot. That's who he was singing to.
Well,
Hey,
Okay.
hey, Paul, let's do more research on this one.
Wait, I got one more for you. One more for you here. This is why you need big YouTube, by the way, those of you out there listening in. Okay, this is the last one. Now, I hesitated to post this one. This is Bigfoot from the rear, and I do mean rear. It's two Bigfoots, full body, and so you get a full rear shot. They are carrying an animal. I'm not sure exactly what the animal is. Might be a pig. They might be going to a pig roast at a nudist camp. Is kind of what.
sort of looks that way.
Hey, Paul, this whole thing is headed in the direction of Bigfoot being human and the humanity of Bigfoot, if there is such a thing. That's the theme on this.
That's entirely possible, John. That by using visual descriptions rather than photos, we're getting a better depiction of Bigfoot. And you're right. These depictions all show Bigfoot being more human-like than ape-like. So I don't know.
Have to keep watching.
There you go. Okay. So speaking of watching for Bigfoot, there's my second Bigfoot story, and this one comes from Ohio, from Scioto County. John and Karen, do you know where Scioto County is?
I think it's Scioto, I think is how you pronounce
Scioto.
it.
Oh, Scioto. I'm sorry.
Scioto.
And I think it's Southeast Ohio, I think.
Yeah.
Southeast along the Ohio River, somewhere around there.
Yes.
That's what I thought too. Okay, so that's where this story comes from. Scioto County News reported this week that the police were called to a Burger King just after 2:30 to break up a fight between two guys. And what were they fighting about? They were fighting about Bigfoot. Here's a photo of a Burger King, in case you don't know what a Burger King looks like. And there's Bigfoot right there. So this is obviously not taken at the site. That Bigfoot looks a little artificially generated, if you ask me.
It was who would think that someone would photobomb a photo of Bigfoot? I mean, that's, I think, what you're seeing here.
His legs look awfully short. Our buddy Don, the Bigfoot expert down in Florida, he pointed out that this Bigfoot has awfully short legs. If this is one you want to get into a race with, because you for sure will beat him in a race. You don't have to push your friend down, so that Bigfoot catches him instead of. So anyway, the cops, these two guys were actually fighting about Bigfoot in front of this Burger King in Scioto County. So the cops let them off with a warning. What do you charge them with? But now the two guys themselves are wanted by Bigfoot, because the rumor going around is that they were arguing over whether Bigfoot tastes better grilled or flame broiled.
Oh.
Yeah, Bigfoot here, that, I don't care what they look like. So my first thought is, if Bigfoot enjoyed fast food, which fast food restaurant do you think they would prefer? Well, everybody out there, you can chime in if you want. Think about that. My guess, my guess would be McDonald's. And here's my, John has had an effect on me. I've become more logical since John has joined the show. So my logic is that, there's got to be something at the restaurant that attracts him. And my guess is that what attracts Bigfoot to McDonald's is Grimace. Because doesn't Grimace looks a lot like a purple Bigfoot, doesn't he?
Yeah, sort of.
Well,
Yeah.
Grimace kind of defies description also. So you're right. I think that he maybe can find a kindred spirit with the Grimace there. Oh,
There you go. There you go. Boy, they could go skipping off in with their Happy Meals.
Yep.
What
Oh.
would Bigfoot eat if Bigfoot went to a McDonald's or a Wendy's or a fast food restaurant? What do you think would be the preferred food of Bigfoot?
Well, I would think the Bigfoot wants something that's like the largest thing on the item or something that's like the biggest, right?
Oh,
So
like a triple Whopper.
yeah, triple Whopper. If he's going to McDonald's, he would get like 2 Big Macs. I mean, he needs to have his energy, right? I mean, you gotta fill him up there with something good, right? I don't know if fast food is good, but
I don't think he's a meat eater. I think he's more of a veggie. So he's going to go for the
Very
French
good,
fries.
Karen. You're right.
well,
French fries. There- something vegetarian.
Yep.
Which is as close as you can get to vegetarian at a fast food restaurant, I believe, John, right?
sure. Maybe
So-
wait a minute. Maybe he would go for desserts. Do you ever think of that?
Maybe.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Go for the ice cream cone at McDonald's or the milkshake
Or-
at Burger King.
There you go. Or the hot apple pie. We've talked
Oh.
about Bigfoot liking apples. To put those two
Oh yeah,
together,
right. Sure.
dessert idea, Karen's fruit idea, you got the hot
Yeah.
apple pie. Now, I have one more thought, and we've done some stories lately about Bigfoot actually eating meat besides vegetables, although they prefer fruit and vegetable. The only meat at a fast food restaurant that looks like it actually came from an animal, the animal that it came from, is the McRib. So my choice for Bigfoot would be the McRib because it
Okay.
looks kind of like a little mini rib from a tiny pig, I guess.
Okay. All right. That stands the reason, Paul. Yeah.
But it's totally man-made.
I know.
It is
I know.
totally man-made, the McRib.
Well, yeah,
Whenever you see
Bigfoot
that
doesn't
thing,
care.
oh,
Bigfoot doesn't care.
Oh boy.
Okay. All right, let's move on to something else that's not food. So this one comes from Spain. So these archaeologists are digging in a cave in Spain. I'll take the picture down in a second. And they found this prehistoric bone fragment. Take a look at that right here. So this is 4 angles of this prehistoric
Wow.
fragment of a bone that they found. And in one photo, you can see that there are puncture marks, very evenly spaced across the bone. And this bone was dated to 39,000 years ago, almost 40,000 years ago. And they figured out that what this is a tool for one of the first tailors, a prehistoric tailor. And what the tailor did was they would pull leather over the bone, and then they would make holes with a chisel by pounding some sharp object into the leather on one side, and it would go through and make the marks on the other side in the bone. And that's how they would make fitted garments 39,000 years ago.
Wow.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Another logical point, I guess. Right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that means in this cave, this very cave, 39,000 years ago was the first time anyone ever said, hey, does this bear skin make my butt look fat?
Oh.
And there was somebody there to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Hey,
See-
necessity is the mother of invention.
I'm
you go.
sorry. I'm sorry that you're just bringing this to my attention now, because
Yeah.
my mother's father was a tailor, and
Oh, fine profession. Yeah.
I will tell you that he had a stick, and I didn't know what it was for, but he did have little marks on it, and that
Uh-huh.
was to help change the width.
How about that?
So, yep,
Then they passed it down from generation to generation.
sure did.
Amazing. It's amazing. You learn all kind of interesting things on what in the world. Here's something else that you might learn. And that is that being a tailor in prehistoric times was not as easy as you might think. Now, why do I say that? Because, when I think of prehistoric people, the first 2 people who come to mind for me are Fred and Barney. That would be Fred Flintstone and Barney
I would
Rubble,
agree
right?
with you on that, Paul.
Yep.
Yes.
There you go. Now, take a look at those outfits. They don't look very tailored to me. Barney has holes in his that kind of hold it together, but they pretty much look like they just grabbed a bear and put whatever, or some sort of animal and put their skin on. But who needed tailoring? I'll tell you who needed tailoring, and that was Wilma and Betty. Now, take a look at their outfits. There you go. Those are very form-fitting, off the shoulder. The waist is pinched in. There's a nice hemline on them. So, this is that was a tough job, Karen. Going all the way back 39,000 years ago. Tough job.
But don't get overly excited. They're cartoon characters.
Just remember what they are, right?
Let me tell you, Betty and Wilma were every young boy's first romance.
Yeah, I know.
And before that, if you're old enough, it was Blondie Bumstead.
Yes.
And who's the one in Sergeant in Beetle Bailey, the secretary, the general secretary?
I remember. Yeah, I can't remember her name, but I remember who.
I got it. It's Miss Buxley. And the only,
right, okay.
the only reason I know.
Oh my gosh! Oh, we're really going back now.
Pretty impressive trivia there. Don't be
very
impressed.
good trivia. Very good trivia.
Yeah, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, our hometown paper, which I still subscribe to. John, I believe you subscribe to it as well.
We still get the Plain Dealer. Yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah. So they canceled Dilbert a number of months ago. We're not going to get into why they canceled Dilbert. They replaced it with Beetle Bailey. Now, I used to, we all grew up on Beetle Bailey. I love Beetle Bailey. It's really dated. But I read it just out of respect. I can't think of a better word for it. Okay, so let's get to our Loch Ness Monster sighting. So this one comes to us from Ian O'Fedahagen. I know I'm mispronouncing his name, and I don't care because I don't like him. This is the guy who sits in front of, he's Irish, he sits in front of his TV in Ireland watching the Bigfoot cameras 24/7. And that's how he gets his sighting. So he doesn't have to go to Scotland. He doesn't have to go sit on the shore, doesn't have to rent a boat. He sits at home and watches TV. And he has probably at least a dozen registered sightings. This is one he's trying to convince us is his next one. I'll put a photo up here for you. So this is not from the traditional spot at the castle, which was the original 24/7 Loch Ness webcam. This is from one of the hotels. This is the big thing now. The hotels are putting in these 24/7 webcam in order to attract people to come to Loch Ness. Hasn't convinced this guy. So the is in the photo in case you couldn't pick it out. So there it is, John, but I'm not going to ask you for your opinion on that one. I'm going to zoom in over here so you can take a look a little better there. So that is a zoom in of what this guy says is the Loch Ness Monster. Now, for those of you who can't see it, this is a little different than the photos you normally see. This is one, with a big neck sticking out. What this is the more traditional hump, multiple hump Loch Ness photo, monster photo. So there's like 4 humps as if it were a snake or an eel. And the humps are coming out of the water as it slithers somehow through the water. That's my description of it. So, John, what do you think about that one?
Well, I hate to keep putting a blanket on the fire or whatever, Paul, and Karen, but I don't know. It's not convincing enough for me. Let's put it that way.
Pretty blurry. What they said was the people who supported the idea that this is a possible Loch Ness Monster is that it was very close to shore, which is unusual, and that if it had been any closer to shore, it would have almost been on the shore, and you would have been able to see it. You've been able to see what it was. So they said that that would be just enough water there to hide a traditional, serpent-like Loch Ness Monster. I don't know.
I'm not feeling it. Sorry.
No, a lot of people said it was like a row of fish, but I disagree with that because you know what a row of fish is?
What is it?
Caviar.
Oh, okay.
John, come to rehearsal. You'll get your timing down better next
Oh, yeah,
time.
Okay, we will.
Okay, I'll come to rehearsal next week. Very good. Very good.
Good analysis, John. I'm pretty skeptical on this one as well. Okay, let's take this down. So Karen, do you do any yoga, or have you done yoga in your life?
I've tried to do yoga in my life.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you, what are the other two questions here? I'm not going to ask you if you have a tattoo, or if you've gotten a massage. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to ask John either, because then the story will go off in a completely different direction. But so this is about a new movie that has come out. It's called Nefarious. And it's not a true story, but basically it's about a prisoner who's possessed by the devil and he's awaiting execution. And it was made by a real exorcist. That's Father Carlos Martins is his name, and he's an exorcism expert. So he says this is the best movie portraying demonic possession ever produced. So he thinks this is a great movie. So the people who made it, they're calling it a documentary, even though it's not technically, it's not a documentary. It's a, what do you call that? Creative nonfiction.
Okay.
They're warning that anyone who indulges in, get ready, massages, tattoos, or yoga runs the risk of being possessed by a demon.
Oh,
Yoga, massages, and tattoos.
wow.
Which
I know people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, if it's just people with tattoos possessed by the demon, that's an awful lot of people. And I believe this because I know if I ever got a tattoo, when I came home and my father saw it, the first thing he would say is, "What on earth possessed you to get that thing?"
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
sure.
yes.
There's a connection. There's a real connection there. Okay.
So I've also seen people at Walmart, and I thought to myself, what on earth possessed them to go out in the public wearing those yoga pants? Same thing, kind of in the same. Yeah, and I'm not going to talk about the massages because it's a family show, but that's what they're saying. These exorcists are saying massages, tattoos, and yoga, you run the risk of being possessed by a demon. So a little bit of warning for you out there.
Okay.
This is my favorite story from Facebook this week. For those of you who listen, I post on Facebook quite often. I do. That's why I kind of test out stories and some jokes. So this was a very popular story on Facebook this week. By the way, I'm also the editor and the head writer at mysteriousuniverse.org.
Oh, stop bragging.
If I was paying more, yeah, I know. Now I'm the only writer left who has a job. So,
Well, yeah, there you go. Mhm.
but some of the Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster stories, those tend to go. I tend to get those from Mysterious Universe. So this is from Facebook. So this is this comes from a doctor in India, and let me get that photo up here because I know I want to. So this is our air conditioning story. So this doctor, he's a homeopathic doctor in India. So he claims he's found the easiest and cheapest way to keep his car cool when it's parked outside on hot sunny days. He covers it completely, except for the windows, with cow dung. That's cow poop.
Oh boy.
Cow manure. That's what that is. That brown stuff smeared all over this beautiful little Suzuki is cow manure.
Ew.
He claims that cow manure, cow dung, whatever you want to call it, naturally resist heat and last for 2 months as long as it doesn't rain.
Now, what about the smell? Let me ask you that question.
Oh, okay. So John, you're right. The first thing is he puts up with it because he gets his premium on his car insurance has been reduced because nobody wants to steal the car.
Okay, I believe that.
Now, friend of the show down in Tennessee, Gail, she saw this picture and she said to me, I bet you he's single. Which
Yep.
is
That's a good guess by Gail. That's a very good
There you
guess
go.
by
So,
her.
so we owe Gail a commission on that joke right there. This is, if you own a Kia or a Hyundai in Cleveland or in some other cities where they're stealing them, this might be the thing to do. Cover your car. I don't know. It's probably hard to find cow dung in Cleveland, but I don't. Maybe dog poop might work.
Oh.
There's plenty of dog poop around.
I guess.
Make sure that smelling robot is nowhere around.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, whose car is this? Seriously. But if this works, you know what's going to happen next? Car dealers are going to start offering it as an option. You go in and you buy your new pooperoo, whatever it's called, car, and the salesman says, "Oh, by the way, we've already installed the poop coating," and you say, "Well, I don't want the poop coating," and they say, "Well, too bad, it was installed at the factory. You're just going to," and they're going to charge you more for it.
Yep.
This is so. I think Subaru. This is why Subaru has dogs in their car commercials, because dogs like that smell. So
Well, I guess they would, yeah.
the real question, John, is: does this really work? Now, the doctor says it does. There was a bunch of people who posted on the Instagram site said that this is completely false. It does not work. It's not scientifically proven. However, in India, one of the things that people do because electricity is so expensive is they will put cow manure, sometimes the dried stuff, in the walls of their house.
Oh.
To help keep their houses cool in the summertime. So there could be a scientific reason for that. I would say, if you go to visit your friends and they have a brown house,
you may not want to stay there.
The door and
Just
say,
beware. Just beware.
"Hey Siri, what's that smell?" Okay, how we doing on time here? So this one comes from. I want to get to the sport. I got a sport for you, John, here. So this one comes from Omaha, Nebraska. Students at Omaha Central High School broke a Guinness World Record last week for the world's largest water balloon tossing contest. Over 1,000 students participated in this water balloon tossing contest. There you go. And you know how water balloon toss works. You toss the ball back and forth once, then you move back and you keep tossing until all the balloons are broken except one, and that pair is declared the winner. What this is now called is gym class. I mean, that's
just about
pretty much it.
Yeah.
When we were kids, this looks like a good excuse to get everybody all wet. When we were kids, when we were in school, we didn't need water balloons. If we wanted to get everybody in the school all wet, we'd wait till an assembly and turn the sprinklers on. That's the way to get everybody wet, right? John, you may have done that yourself.
Well, in my mischievous days, yes, I'm going to say that I did those kind of things.
Kind of prankster kind of things. That's right. You look like that kind of prankster. John, what's the difference between a water balloon toss and a water balloon fight?
I think
you want the balloon to break in a fight.
Right.
Good point. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say toss is kind of like more of a friendly activity.
Yeah. Okay.
Fight is when you wind up and you really want to really bust the water balloon against the person you're throwing it at.
There you go. That's right. And before you did either one, you had to fill the balloons up with water, which was part of the process, whether it was a toss or a war, especially if it was a balloon toss, a water balloon fight. That was part of the getting your ammo together. And that's that was where you got madder at the other team, because you're busy, you're getting wet and you're filling up the balloons. And oh man, and I can't tie the knot, and I'm really going to let them have it. That was part of the fun of the water balloon fight. You know what they do now, John and Karen and everybody out there? They have this tool where you can fill like 20, 30 balloons at a time I went to a party, a kid's party where they were doing this. Takes all the fun out of it. It takes all the buildup, the natural
Wow.
buildup.
I agree. It would, I think. Yes.
Yeah. Now it's just getting everybody all wet. It's not that, but I'd take the hose and just hose them down. That'd be a thing. I don't
Bring back the old days. Bring back
bring
the
back
old
the old days. That's right, John. Okay, now this is a story here I threw in for our friend of the show, Mel. Now that John knows Mel, John's known Mel far longer than I have. Mel used to be well, I won't say what he did because that'll spoil the story here. So this story comes from Poland. This is a photo, an aerial photo of the Polish village of Sulassowa. The lovely Donna would tell me the correct pronunciation of it. We're going to go with that. It's near Krakow. Has about 6,000 people living in that little village. They all live on one street. And that's a photo of the street. So you can see every single house. There's only 1 yard wide. Every single one of them is lined up. The driveway pulls into the same street. I don't know the name of the street. I would guess Main Street. But
Too obvious, Paul.
whatever the Polish word for Main Street is, 5.6 miles through the town. Every single person lives on it, including the happiest man in the town, the mail carrier, because this is the easiest job in the world. And this is why I put it in for our friend Mel, who was a mail carrier for a number of years. You can't beat that. You don't even have to think. Just walk up and down and, put the next envelope in the box and keep on going.
Really, that's a good thought, Paul.
Okay. All right. Let's see how we do. I think we're going to end on that one right there. So, what do we have coming up next? So if we're done with the real stories on What in the World, it's time for sports with John DiNallo. What in the world of sport? Every week, I ask John, who I've known for many years. He's my sports guru, my trivia guru. He knows more sports than there are sports to know.
Wow, that's a lot of sports.
Thanks for that plug, Paul. Appreciate it.
So I ask John every week, John, can you come up with a new sport, a sport that fits the theme of What in the World? And he always manages to find one. Now, I also ask him to find some sports that we could participate in our advanced ages. And sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. I think this is a borderline one. I think this is one we might be able to participate in. So I'm going to line up John's photos here. And John, why don't you introduce your sport this week for us?
All right. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for the introduction. So our sport this week has a unique name in a sense. And the name of the sport is pushball.
Pushball.
Right.
Okay.
Now, this may sound something, that football players do, between plays, when the referee isn't looking. But
yeah, that's right. They get closer to the first down. Good idea.
Right. But it is a real sport. Yeah, no, it is a real sport and it is an interesting one.
Okay.
So let's give a little bit of a historical perspective to it. The game was invented by a gentleman by the name of M.G. Crane of Newton, Massachusetts. And that was done, or he created the game in 1891. And then Harvard University followed suit in fielding the first collegiate pushball team in 1892.
Harvard, how about that? They were close to the beginning of football too, so they were also
exactly right. So, well, and since it was played with a ball that was, get ready for this, 6 feet in diameter and weighing 50 pounds, it looks like a perfect sport to be played by college guys looking to blow off some steam or needing an excuse to drink beer.
They don't need an excuse.
No, right. That's right, Karen.
Right. But yeah, here's a photo of an old game. That ball looks even bigger than 6 feet, but I'll take your word for it, John. 6 feet. Wow.
And as the history tells it, Harvard dropped pushball, and they probably lost too many games to Yale. So
Of course.
as a result, Macalester College, which is in St. Paul, Minnesota, started playing push ball in 1914 and actually holds competitions involving both the student body and the faculty.
How about that? Wow.
Yeah, right. Emory University in Atlanta fielded push ball teams from 1923 to 1955, but decided the game was getting too rough. So they actually, it was too rough for the participants to participate in this and try to be able to lift that thing. So anyway, it was also played at Columbia University in New York and also in Miami University in Oxford, Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah. Here's a
Wow.
picture of the.
So it really started with,
men at Columbia.
right. I mean, it did have a lot of popularity, obviously, at the college campus level, and
I guess so,
it now actually, to go back a little bit further, it was played in the United Kingdom since 1902 with different rules.
Wow.
Now, speaking of rules, the rules of push ball are pretty simple. The field is 140 yards long and 50 yards wide. And that's to accommodate, the 6 foot wide ball.
Yeah,
in the US, each team has 11 members comprised of 5 forwards, 2 left wings, 2 right wings, and 2 goalkeepers. The goals are 2 upright posts that are, get ready for this, 18 feet high.
Wow.
And 20 feet apart.
Wow.
With a crossbar that has to be 7 feet off the ground.
Jeez.
Now, the game lasts for 2 periods with an intermission. Pushing the ball under the bar will give you a score of 5 points. Lifting or throwing the ball over the bar scores 8 points.
Wow.
Now, here's a twist.
50-pound ball, I don't think you'd be kicking.
Well, that's why, again, a lot of these games were ended because it was just too brutal on the participants to keep moving this thing.
Wow.
But if the ball is touched down behind the goal by the attacking team, that team is awarded 2 points. The team with the most points at the end is the winner, of course.
Yeah.
And then here's a side part. Gets to drink beer while the losers hose down the muddy 6 foot push ball, because a lot of it was easier to play this game when the field was wet, of course. So you could be able to maneuver it more easily.
Oh, and more fun. Yeah, more
exactly. Fun. Now, the British version, that's been played since 1902 is a little different. It has 8 players per side, but again, equal number of attackers and goalkeepers. And get ready for this. Push ball was played on horseback at the Durland's Riding Academy, which is located in New York, and also located in, there's also a riding academy in England. And in fact, push ball on horseback is played across Europe. It's played across the entire continent, and is right now is making a comeback in the US.
Yeah, here's a. I tried to find some modern photos of
Sure.
Older one. It looks
right. Yeah, it's making a comeback now. But along with horse soccer, how about that sport? Horse soccer, again, which is also called, go figure this, hoofball.
Hoofball.
Now, believe it or not, is considered to be a valuable exercise and is a training tool for both the horse and the rider. So there is some physical benefit from that.
Well, I could, having lived in Texas as long as I did and having attended a number of rodeos, I could see this as a rodeo sport.
Oh, wow.
I'm surprised you haven't picked up on that. That would be a fun rodeo sport.
So I think in closing, ladies and gentlemen, push ball looks to be like a fun sport that could also provide a great workout for you. Especially for the referee. Now,
oh yeah, no kidding.
Think of this. That's a kind of understated. You've
Sure.
got to be in good shape when it's a jump ball, and the ball that you toss up is 6 feet wide and weighs 50 pounds.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think there was a photo of them tossing a ball in here
I thought you
somewhere.
had a photo of that
There's one
gent.
right there, yeah. That's a jump ball or I'm
Don't you,
trying
don't
to
you have
throw
that
it
picture,
over.
Paul, of the referee with the ball? You had a
I
that was
don't
a
know. No, this
worse there.
particular photo right here, this is where it must have gotten rough because it looks like there's far more than 11 people to a side on
Yeah,
this.
I think so.
Yeah, I think somehow the fans got involved in that action. I think somehow.
Yeah. I look kind of dangerous to me. So push ball. Push ball is the name of the sport, comes from the United States, started out at Harvard of all
Yes, it did.
places.
Well, technically
Yeah.
in Massachusetts in 1891, and then at Harvard in 1892. Right, right.
Yeah, amazing. I thought I had some photos. They really do play it to this day at that McAllister University or
College,
McAllister,
right? Yeah, Counselor College.
Minnesota. There's some pictures from 2019 and 2020, right before COVID, where the students were playing, and now they use multicolored balls, and they have uniforms and not as the old game looks like a lot more fun. So anyways, great sport, John. Push ball from
Thanks.
from the bowels of are we scraping the bottom of the barrel yet on the
No,
sport?
I'm being challenged with the research I'm doing, but I try to keep coming up with something new every week.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
surely are.
Well, I don't know. I certainly would not. I've been on a horse a couple of times in my life. I certainly wouldn't want to play the hoofball version of this, but the pushball version looks like it might be fun for a picnic or something like that. Maybe with a ball that was lighter. But be that as it may. John, I don't know if you remember this, but way back, it might have been our freshman or sophomore year. There was a move on at our school to play push ball as an intramural sport. I don't think there weren't, we certainly were going to play Harvard in this sport. And but there was an intramural recruiting activity going on, and we fielded a team. I don't know if you remember that. But we fielded.
It's a little foggy right now. Can you add a little more information for me on that?
Well, you and I were on the first. I don't know if we were wings or what, but I can remember you and I were the stars of the team. Unfortunately, we came up against another team. Might have been Cleveland State. That was just phenomenal. They've been playing it for years. It was their sport. So we got. I won't say we were hurt, but there were some serious injuries. This is what happened to me during the push ball game.
Oh my God!
Ball at one point with just my head sticking out. Not a very pleasant place to be. However, poor John ended up worse. Here's John right here. John.
You know why I don't remember it? I don't remember it because I couldn't see anything.
I couldn't see. John had the ball on his head. All we can see is his leg. He's got those little short legs like Bigfoot there.
Yeah.
I can imagine. That's why I wanted to forget, and John couldn't remember because he couldn't see anything. So anyway, that's our push ball story for this week. Thanks again, John. Great sport, by the way.
Good sport.
Oh yeah, thanks for the photos, Paul. That was very good.
And before we do bluff the co-host, I want to tell you that Paul Reed's watching.
Oh,
and
great. Hi, Paul.
Rich, it says hi from Rich and Cindy. And of course, Donna Bell's watching too.
Donna Bell, oh, of course, yes. Oh, hi, Richard, Cindy. We've got old friends of the show, old friends of mine, and Donna's as well. Great. Well, that's great. That's super. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I get. I'm sure I'm going to be getting phone calls from somebody after that. What, did you really do that? But
well, I think we should all come over for a picnic this weekend and play push ball.
Play push ball. That's right.
Yeah.
But John, where can we find a ball that big?
I think I have an out. I think it's still going to be raining this weekend, so I don't think we can do it.
How about the
even
following
better.
weekend?
We'll take that under advisement, Karen. We'll take that.
Okay.
Even better. Okay. All right. Well, for those if you can't play push ball, you can certainly play Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. We play it at the end of every show. Rules are very simple. I have 3 stories similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference. Those were real. These could be real. They could be a bluff. It's up to Karen, John, and those of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. We're in Ohio. Gambling is allowed, so place your bets now. John and Karen, put your hands on the buzzer, and let's get right to the first story and Bluff the Co-host. The coronation of King Charles III is next week, and it seems like all of the royal celebrations are all about him, except for one. Dairy Queen in England is honoring the new Queen Camilla with some limited edition treats and meals that are all about her. On the day of the coronation, the only flavor of ice cream available at Dairy Queens in England will be Camilla Vanilla, and the Dilly bars will be renamed Camilli Dilly bars. All sundaes will be served in tureens because her name will no longer be Camilla Parker Bowles. All blizzards will be made with her favorite candy, Cadbury eggs. And finally, in honor of her unusual taste, all DQ burgers will be served with the new Queen's favorite condiment. Get ready, marshmallow cream. If any of the coronation treats catch on, Dairy Queen of England promises to bring them back again. Okay, so Dairy Queen is coming out with coronation treats in honor of Queen Camilla. What do you say, Karen? Real or bluff?
You are an excellent writer. I really love this. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
There's some logic there. There's some logic.
That's right. Okay, I'm not going to go any further with that. John, Aaron says it's a bluff. What do you say, John? Real or bluff?
Well, I'll tell you this. This is one story that I hope is real, because I think it's a novel idea by Dairy Queen. I think that's a great, great idea for publicity. It's a great idea for, I guess, somewhat of a respect to the new queen or what have you. Well, maybe because I'm just a fan of Dairy Queen in general. So I'll tell the truth. Okay, I'm a big fan of Dairy Queen. So
okay.
I hope this is a real story, which is rare, because a lot of times of the stories you have, Paul, I hope they're not real for various reasons. I hope this one is real.
And Paul has said true, real.
Okay, so we got another reel from one of our listeners. So Karen says it's a bluff. John says it's real. Paul says it's real. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Congratulations, Karen. That's a bluff."
I am disappointed. I am disappointed.
There was too many different variations.
That kind of makes sense, right? Too many different things, right? That might hurt their business. But
Camilli Dilly, I was pretty happy with that one. Camilli Dilly. The fellow hamburger did sick. Okay, so the score is 1-0. Oh, John was our winner last week. So John, you gotta mount a comeback like the Guardians did last week, 9th inning, last night. All right, score 1-0. Karen, let's get right to story number 2. Everyone knows how hard it is to quit smoking, but a man in Turkey who has tried everything else thinks he's finally figured out the solution to help him give up cigarettes. While at a pet store, he noticed a bird cage and decided to lock his head in one so he couldn't put a cigarette in his mouth. The specially modified bird cage has protection for his neck and shoulders, and the clasp for keeping it closed has a padlock whose keys he gave to his family with orders not to give it back to him until he quit. It took him 2 months, but he finally stopped smoking. He also lost weight because he had to drink his food through a straw through the bars. Besides no longer wanting a smoke, he says the best part is being able to sleep on a pillow again. Okay, John, we'll go with you first. Man in Turkey who quit smoking by locking his head inside a birdcage. Real or bluff?
I'm sorry I'm laughing about this one, but I'm gonna hope for his sake it worked. I'm gonna say it's true. Because if he had his head in a birdcage for 2 months, he better get something out of it.
All right. So John says that's a true story. Karen, how about you?
Yeah, there's some very strange people in this world. And for some reason, that story was written so that I could picture it happening. So I'm going to say it's true.
Wow, two truths, two truths. Both Karen and John say there actually is a man who quit smoking because he put his head in a birdcage. Let's check with the judges. The judges say congratulations to both of you. That's a true story.
All right. Way to go, Karen. Way to go.
Yeah.
Good,
And
good,
Donna
good.
Bell got it right.
Okay,
So,
good.
oh yeah. Well, she would, the lovely Donna, I'm sure she remembers way back when our first pet was a cockatiel, which we bought in Hinckley, Ohio, from a man who called himself the Hinckley Birdman. And his logo was a man with a birdcage on his head.
Oh,
Which,
everything intersects eventually.
How about that? That's right. That's right. Over at Bennett's Corners. Anyways, let's see. The score is Karen 2, John 1, but points are doubled in round number 3. So John has a chance to pull a 9th inning upset here. Let's see what happens with story number 3. This is a story that could only happen in Australia, the home of the strangest animals in the world. A woman in Australia said she heard knocking at her door, but when she looked out the peephole, there was no one there. After it happened a number of times more, she bravely decided to open the door crack, and what she saw shocked her. The door knocker was a large brown snake with an extremely hard head, whacking it against the door. After taking a video as proof, she called a snake removal service, which came right away, caught the snake, and transferred it to a safe location. The snake service said they had never seen anything like this before, but the door-knocking snake was not venomous, just annoying. Okay, so the woman in Australia who had something knocking at her door, and it was something that has no hands to do it, but a head, a snake. What do you say, real or bluff?
Well, I mean, a snake slithers, so it could be hitting up against the door, not really knocking. This is a tough one. It's not even written that well. I'm sorry, I couldn't help that.
Pressure. This pressure you guys put on me. Okay.
I'm going to say true.
So Karen, after all that, Karen says it's a real story. Okay, Karen says it's true. John, how about you?
I agree with Karen. I think it's true because I think snakes come in all shapes and sizes. And I can envision, like, if it's a big snake in Australia and he's got a big head and he's whacking on the door, it would probably disturb anybody. So I'm going to say it's true.
This is starting to sound like a Roadrunner cartoon. Snake whacking its head against the door. Bugs Bunny. Okay, so John and Karen both say that's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations to both of you. That is a real story, and congratulations to Karen. That means
Karen,
wow,
you're right. Very good.
It's about time.
Very good, Karen. Very good.
A little more information on that last story. There was they think that the snake was actually trying to notify the woman in the house that it's another snake was caught in something in a fence or something, or a hole at her house, and it was actually trying to get their attention to come and rescue the snake's friend. So, don't be nice to snakes. That's our message there. Be nice to snakes. So, and be nice to us too. I mean, this is a labor of work and love for us here at What in the World. But we enjoy doing it. We enjoy having live listeners. Thank you, Cindy, Rich, and Paul, and the lovely Donna. Thank you to all the rest of you in the future who are either watching us or listening to us on whatever platform you prefer. Please visit newclevelandradio.net. Check out how to download our show for free. If you visit us on YouTube, please follow us. While you're at newclevelandradio.net, please look at all the other great podcasts that Karen has there. She's done a super job of collecting a wide variety of really great podcasts. So you could fill your whole week. Don't bother with any other platforms. Go with newclevelandradio.net.
Now, you don't even need Netflix.
There you go. Wow. How about that?
It's not even a question of a choice. What's better, our show or Netflix?
That's right. Exactly.
There you go. That's right. That's right. You don't have to steal a password from anybody. So
That's right.
And as always, piping in at the end over there is our old friend John DiNallo. John, thanks for everything you do, for being for all your sports and for being a good sport as always.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you.
Enjoy everybody out there. Enjoy your weekend. It is still cold and rainy here. Spring had disappeared in Cleveland, Ohio, so we're hoping it warms up soon. I hope it's warm and nice where you are, and we will see you next week on Tuesday again.
We'll be here.
Have a good week, everybody.
Bye, everybody.